first, Gyles and Camilla are here to discuss today's top news stories.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We look as though we're going to Eurovision.
Yes.
We are coordinated now because we're now living together. It's gone so well. I thought, well, I might as well move in with my carer.
Yes, that's right.
So I've got the spare bedroom. So in the
morning
we say, what are we going to wear?
What are we going to wear and just coordinate it.
What a
and
wonderful
then we
team
can
you are.
Thank you for phoning me.
Your glasses.
Yes.
So we're all good.
A little bit of everything. A little bit of everything.
Nice
Right, let's turn to some of the stories that are making the headlines today. And a big one this, Camilla, because Keir Starmer has finally committed to launching a statutory inquiry into grooming gangs and the grooming gang scandal. There's been a lot of criticism of Labour for a number of months about the fact that they weren't doing this. It seemed like they'd sort of pushed back against it, and finally it's going to happen.
It's not a U-turn, Ben.
No, it's not a U-turn.
It's not a U-turn. That's what the Prime Minister is insisting. It's because he has read the interim report that's been prepared by Dame Louise Casey. She's almost become a kind of governmental problem shooter. She's carried out a number of different reviews on very important issues. And she has said in this interim report, we must have a national judge-led inquiry. You may remember that Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary, had previously announced local inquiries. That wasn't really enough to satisfy the public, not least when the Prime Minister himself had made that suggestion some months ago that anybody that was calling for a national judge-led inquiry was, quotes, jumping on a far-right bandwagon, which went down badly. You then have a lot of pressure being applied by Kemi Badenoch, the opposition leader, Reform and Nigel Farage, even the ex-Reform MP Rupert Lowe, who has been funding his own inquiry. I think this has been done, obviously, with the best of intentions now, but most people watching this would have been calling for an inquiry months and months ago. It seems to be an open and shut case in terms of the need. We've had inquiries when just one or two people have been killed in awful circumstances. Right? This was the ritualistic and indeed systemic rape of children across Britain across many decades, and according to some survivors, it is still going on now. Obviously, there was a huge amount of sensitivity around the idea that the perpetrators were predominantly Pakistani males. Casey has revealed, yes, the perpetrators were predominantly Pakistani males, so as well as finding out what happened, when it happened, how it happened, who turned a blind eye, who covered up, because there were cover-ups by local authorities, the police and other interested parties. In some cases, the victims themselves were criminalised while the perpetrators went free. It was like, oh, it's fine for this to have happened because these girls, they're working class, they're not really in school, some of them are in care. Should we really care? The whole thing always needed to be blown open. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. There was an argument, Giles, oh, well, we can't have an inquiry because it would take too long. My argument was always, you can never wait long enough for justice for these people. The survivors themselves just want answers. There
were some extraordinary survivors on Good Morning Britain this morning, and hearing them talk and how strong and brave they've been, they're still waiting for justice. They would agree. They want justice.
They do agree, and they also want the local as well as the national inquiry, because the local... The fear was that with local inquiries, local authorities don't want to inspect themselves. And so maybe it could be more cover-up if you have a local inquiry. But I think the victims are saying we need a local inquiry to get the details of all of this and actually find out who was responsible within the local authorities at the time who were not taking action. And we need a national inquiry because the national inquiry, judge-led, can actually ask deeper questions and can require witnesses to appear. So the right thing is now being done. And hopefully, as you say, everything will be revealed and the horror of this can be stopped. Because it's not just in local communities. But listening to one of the victims, she was saying that there was trafficking going on. So it might have begun, in her case, in Bradford, but she was also trafficked to different parts of the United Kingdom.
Also, some areas haven't been explored. You know, there haven't been local inquiries in a lot of areas that this has taken place. I would suggest that there is some political expediency to this because of the pressure the Prime Minister and the Home Secretary have come under from Reform and others. You know, it's all very well him now saying, well, I can't quite understand why the government can't take any decisions until somebody else tells them to do so. Oh, we can't make a decision on this until Louise Casey gets involved. Well, hang on a minute, you were a lawyer. You knew the legal and indeed moral arguments for this.
In fairness to Labour, there have been Labour MPs and people like Harriet Harman who've been asking for this national inquiry for a time as well. So it's not just Reform and the opposition. A lot of people cross-party think this is the right thing. And the right decision has been made.
Yes, finally we're going to get it.
Yeah. OK, let's talk about the NHS Clinical Trials. As part of the new NHS 10-year health plan, millions of people will be asked to join NHS Clinical Trials via their app. Good idea, John?
Well, I think a very good idea. My challenge with the NHS app is it's probably me, user failure. I find my banking app really quite easy to operate.
Yes.
The NHS app is a little bit not so easy for me. I like this idea. It's inviting people to put themselves forward as guinea pigs. I have a lot of cancer in my family. A sister who died of cancer prematurely. My father died of cancer. A lot of it in my family. So I'm interested to help because maybe there is something in my heritage and genes that could help. Also, they're investigating dementia, which seems to be every day I meet more people either who have it or whose families have it. These are really important things. So if we can help through this, wonderful. I'm not quite sure how it's going to work.
No. My concern about digitisation of NHS services on the whole is if it's used as an excuse to not allow people to see medical professionals face-to-face, then I think it's problematic. So when we talk about digitisation, if it's actually going to improve NHS productivity, that's a great thing. There is a stunning stat after we heard the spending review last week. Rachel Reeves committed 39 billion more towards the NHS. The NHS over the last 30 years has become 24% less productive than it was. Right. So we have been... I mean, that's an amazing statistic, isn't it?
How can that be?
Over the last 30 years. So the more that we've put in, Kat, the less productive it has become. If you're on the inside of the NHS, you say this, you know, the computer systems don't talk to each other, nothing is joined up. When it comes to procurement, there's no kind of universal system. And this is because all trusts operate independently because they're catering for different populations and different demographic areas. Fine. So what I'm saying is, there's a great deal to do on a macro level to make the NHS run more productively. I don't like the idea of these apps, particularly when it comes to the elderly and the vulnerable, people feeling that they can only communicate with the NHS via a screen. That's not healthy in my mind.
I'm with you on that, but I think this is different. What they're saying here is we can feed in data and you can get millions of people putting in their data to this, and that will help them with their research.
But do you think that's do you think that's OK, though, for them to have all that data on you?
What are they going to do with the data?
I do.
You're happy with that?
You're happy.
These are real issues.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, dementia, cancer, these are things that are devastating people's lives and costing billions to deal with. So if the technology enables better research, more effective research, more reliable research, because sometimes AI can actually understand the figures better than humans.
I think so. The plans, idea is to make the UK a global leader in medical research, to cut the bureaucracy involved in setting up these trials. And the trials, hopefully, are the things that lead to better treatment along the way, isn't it? At the moment, it takes 100 days to set up a trial in Spain, but if you want to do it here in the UK, 250 days on the NHS. The plan is to try and see this get sort of significantly quicker, so you can get the results, get the data, and hopefully make a difference to people's lives.
Although my experience of, you know, recent experience with the NHS with my late stepmother, they have all of the technology, and yet the processes they go through for drug allocation, for monitoring, anyone that has visited an NHS hospital recently or has cared for a relative in a ward will know you're looking at the nurses running around, literally filling out so much paperwork and form filling online that I would suggest humbly that it's going to take more than a kind of app trial of different kind of health measures to improve things.
I have a go putting myself up for this, and I will report back and see
how you get on
at my age, because I am keen to support it.
Living, breathing guinea pig, folks.
We love it.
See if it works, and let you know how I get on.
Good idea.
Smashing.
Personification of a guinea pig. I love it, Gyles. That's exactly what we need. Let's talk about whether the Wi-Fi in your house makes your kids stronger or weaker. A headmistress, Gyles, has suggested that parents should take their kids on holiday to areas with poor Wi-Fi so they read more.
Not any headmistress. This is the headmistress of Winchester College, which likes to think it's the school in Winchester, in Hampshire, that has the brightest boys, I think it's a boys' school, in the country. So these are clever clogged children.
Rishi Sunak's old school.
There we are.
That's right, of course it is, yes.
So, she is saying, Elizabeth Stone, actually, when you're going on holiday, pick the part of Greece, parents, that where the Wi-Fi is very poor, and then the children will be obliged to read. That is the idea. I mean, frankly, the parents should just be saying, today we're all going to read.
Well, you could go to some parts of the UK and the Wi-Fi is poor.
There are parts of Cheshire.
Come to my village. We don't really have a mobile phone signal.
But this is not a bad idea. I think a better idea would be to say, why don't you, as a family on holiday, commit yourselves to half an hour reading a day? Even, it's quite a nice idea, form a family book club.
Yes, that's what she's suggesting, isn't it?
Which is that one of her ideas?
Yes, one of her ideas.
This is a great idea, and you earlier confessed to me that on Father's Day you had a limerick session among the Brandreths, which is the most Brandreth thing. We all did a line, he said to me. I mean, of
This
limericks.
is my son's idea. We had a wonderful brunch yesterday, which he cooked, and then we all had pieces of paper, and we had to do one line of the limerick, pass it round.
I
We
love
got
it.
some quite cheeky limericks from
I can
the
imagine.
11-year-old and the 13-year-old too.
But
bet
can I
they
just
loved it.
object to one thing Ms Stone is saying here? Teenagers need to be weaned off reading only series of books such as Harry Potter, Percy Jackson and The Hunger Games, which are the literary equivalent of pureed baby food. I'm sorry, my daughters are better at reading than my son. At one point, I was just giving my son the Telegraph Sports Supplement because he wasn't reading.
Yes.
And I'm really for, and, you know, one of my daughters, she's very much into, what's the cartoon guy? God, I've lost the guy who does... Tom Gates.
Tom Gates.
Tom Gates. It's not, you know, reams and reams. People are like, oh, she shouldn't be reading Tom Gates. Just get the kids to read something.
Yes.
I don't like that. This is slightly... It's a bit elitist.
I agree.
I agree. When I was a child, there was something called Classics Illustrated, which were comic versions of the great classics with pictures and bubbles.
Yes.
I loved that.
I think
Get
it's a
them
brilliant
reading.
idea.
Harry Potter introduced a whole generation across the world to the joy of reading, whatever it is. Harry Potter is the equivalent of Sherlock Holmes 100 years later. And people criticised Arthur Conan Doyle, saying, oh, our kids are now reading this Sherlock... Oh, I think our children are reading
That's
this.
the end of society, isn't
Exactly.
it? Yeah.
Get people reading.
Couldn't agree more. Right then, they are going to...
Welcome back. Gyles and Camilla are still with us for a look at more of today's top stories.
Now then, here's a question for both of you. As a growing concern about parental burnout, the expert, Camilla, come on.
Also known as parenting.
The experts are warning the pressure to be a perfect parent is leaving mums and dads emotionally exhausted. Did you find yourself emotionally exhausted, Gyles, as you were rearing your brood?
I have not recovered. You go straight from children into grandchildren,
Yes.
which is a nightmare. You know, the whole thing. Of course, it's exhausting. This is life.
Yeah.
It is life.
This is life. I'm a little bit... I mean, this is Action for Children, which is a very worthwhile charity, and it's saying that there's going to be increased irritability, exhaustion, feeling isolated, all these things, which we know about. Indeed, you know, talking about postnatal depression, which we will be later, one of the things I remember most vividly was how lonely my wife felt in the early days of having the small children, going around the park for hours, nobody talking
And to be
her.
fair, Linda's going to be talking about postnatal depression, so that's significant.
So there are serious issues here, but as it were saying, oh, you've got parental burnout, which is fine. But
I just
it is
think
part and
we're
parcel.
sort of putting medicalised terms on everyday feelings, really. I mean, of course, being a parent's exhausting. We've got 3 more GCSEs left this week and then we are done. It is, you know, stressful and difficult. I would like to share with you a little quote from my father yesterday. So my son says to Grandad, we went out for dinner, Grandad, just leave us with a quote. Leave us with a quote, a thought for the day.
Brandreth Street.
This is great.
Yes.
And my dad leaned into Harry and said, life's tough if you weaken. And I said, Dad, where'd you get that from? He goes, that's what my father used to say to me. What I'm saying is, of course, people have horrible challenges in their lives that they need to overcome. In general, parenting can be difficult, but I don't think we need to sort of turn it into a syndrome.
No.
No, there are tough weeks, there are great weeks,
Yeah.
there are weeks where sometimes everything just seems to run your way and it's
And
all
it's brilliant
fine
being a
and
parent. Another quote, this is from the late, great Captain Webb, who was the first man to swim the Channel. Do you know what he said, Gylesy?
What did he say?
Nothing great is easy.
It's true too.
Nothing great is easy.
It
Can
isn't.
I-
And then he said,
may get
hand me
some
the
T-shirts
goose
made up.
fat as quickly as you can.
Clodagh would say her pasta bake's pretty easy, and that looked great to me
Well,
as well. So other than the pasta bake...
That makes parenting much easier, I've got to be
Yeah,
honest.
sure, anything you can freeze. OK, let's talk pet parties.
Oh, golly.
Have you not really had a pet
I'm
party?
not sure
Claire?
Baroness Lionel of Blair would be awake for long enough for us to host her little furry feline party.
I mean, it's spectacular.
How much
New,
is
It appears
new
that almost...
research,
yes.
shows nearly 2/3 of Brits are splashing out a whopping 1.7 billion a year on pet birthday parties, from gourmet dog birthday cakes to personalised presents.
I don't believe it. An average of £121 each. We're talking about 7 million people, apparently, are treating their pets.
Sorry,
in
I'm
this
just looking
way.
at that dog with a party hat on and it's irresistible.
Well,
I mean, my boys haven't had birthday parties like that. Some of them, not that extravagant.
No. I must confess, I'm not quite...
They are sensational. Here's some of the ones that our viewers have been having. This is from Katie. Apparently, Bailey celebrated his 3rd birthday last Saturday. They always make cupcakes. They get cards and presents. There you go. That's,
wow.
From Jamie, he says, every year Lola has presents, a party hat, a banner and a dog-friendly cupcake.
I think Gizmo might be my favourite. Jade says, we make a big fuss of our lovely boy Gizmo. This is him on his 8th birthday.
I'd just like to know where's his neck gone.
Yeah, look.
Where is his neck?
I'm not sure I know my cat's birthday, like this precise
Camilla.
day.
I didn't really know my dog's either, but I did get 3 portraits done of her. Is that a bit excessive?
No,
that's cute.
But that is a reminder of why we're doing these things. My son-in-law, the vet, says, give the pet a party, but remember, it's for you.
Is this
Look,
yours?
The
so
pet
this
may
is
not be
mine. So I
enjoying
couldn't.
it.
That's so lovely.
I couldn't decide which picture to do, so I did baby Lily, middle Lily.
Did you do this yourself?
No, I wish. And old lady Lily.
They're brilliant.
It's an artist called Rachel Voss, and I saw her illustrations, and I thought they were beautiful.
Would she
love
do
that.
me?
I'm sure she would.
Because she makes your dogs look so good.
She does.
She can do anything.
Or she could do you if you were a dog. If you were a dog, what
Well, he's
dog
a
would
guinea
you be?
pig, so he's happy to do a dog as well.
Yes, I do as a
right.
guinea pig.
The interesting thing is most of these, in fact, all of the interaction we had from our viewers, thank you for sending them in, are all dogs. Chloe Louise, we've got Alfred. Again, another dog with a hat on and a bib. Carly says their pooch was 2 recently. Beverly says the cake was a huge success. Betty looked thrilled. And then finally, a very happy birthday pup from Danielle. Mostly dogs.
Yeah, we would throw a cat a party and it wouldn't turn up.
It walks away. Our cat walks away from breakfast.
Basically.
Never mind the
Not
birthday
be interested. We have some lovely news as well to share, the last part of this part. Lorraine's Change and Check campaign, of course, I'm sure you're aware of it. It was launched to help women learn how to check themselves for signs of breast cancer, and it's already saved 100 lives since it began in 2019. And the person behind it has been recognised by the King.
She's so excited, she almost can't believe it herself. The campaign has seen a boob bust across the nation, and it's led to not 1, but 2 charity singles, taking the choir all the way to the Royal Albert Hall.
Gosh, just so great.
Yeah.
Now, the producer behind it all, Helen Addis, seen here entertaining the King like nobody else. Just love to know what she was saying. Has been awarded an MBE in the King's birthday honour list.
Bravo, Helen Addis. Now, Helen Addis, MBE, who works on the Lorraine programme, please join us now.
Thank you so
Are you
much.
still revelling?
I'm absolutely buzzing. I'm absolutely buzzing.
How did you find out?
They sent me a letter, and I thought I'd been in trouble for something. And it said Order of the King's Service, and I opened it up, and it said that I'd been nominated.
Did you have any idea?
No,
So,
no.
what the people that nominated you, have they now been in touch, said, yes, it was us? Do you know
Yes.
who did it?
Yeah, I know some of them, yes.
You have to get a lot of people to give evidence to say why it's right.
And it's just totally overwhelming. And, yeah, I'm super proud. But I was saying this morning that I feel like I've had an MBE already in terms of I'm a member of the boob empire. And I'm going to continue to grow that empire.
Quite right too.
But to actually get an award is just... To be recognised like that is incredible.
It's amazing. Because we were talking about it in the production meeting this morning, I thought, what a brilliant idea when you put the stickers into the changing rooms. It's a really simple idea, but brilliant.
That's how I found my my lump, actually. I got out the shower and I was in front of a mirror, and as I was drying, I felt a lump then. And I was 39 at the time, so under the screening age. So the only person that was going to find their cancer was me. So that's why I'm just really passionate about early diagnosis. Because breast cancer is still the most common cancer in women across the UK.
And when you hear, Helen, that 100 lives have been saved because of the campaign, as you say, that you know of, it's extraordinary, that, isn't it, to think the impact?
Amazing, yeah. And so, 100 women, and we've had 1 man come forward as well, because obviously men get breast cancer too.
Yeah. And how's your health? How are you doing?
I'm very well. I'm scanned regularly. I'm on permanent medication, but I am top of the world right now.
And what was the actual day like itself? What did you say?
When you
Well,
met the
that's
King
not
there.
the investiture.
That wasn't.
No,
was
I haven't had
previous.
that yet. But this was... We were invited by the King to go and perform.
Oh, yes, that was
to
the
sing.
brilliant picture.
Yes, yeah. And it was absolutely. It was such a special occasion, and I get to go back and do a curtsy and get the MBE.
What about the outfit, though?
Don't know
that's
yet.
the big thing.
Have you thought of any hat? No hat?
Apparently, I think you have to
Have to wear a hat. Have to wear a hat.
You
OK.
look so good.
Or a
I
hair
hope
cover.
The late Queen used to say that these honours are the ones that really count. The headlines often about, the celebrities. But actually, she said, this is the people who really make a difference.
Yes.
And the King adds to that actually these are opportunities for spreading the word about worthwhile causes. And the King and his family are very interested in cancer and all the work that can go on. So, I mean, this will actually come from his heart when it goes on to your heart.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is just the start of the campaign. I'm going to keep going and building it and building it. I've got lots of ideas for it.
Oh, I'm so proud, Helen.
Thank you.
So thrilled we could get you on. I know they've been talking about it, but we need to keep talking about it. It's an amazing campaign and you've done an extraordinary job. So congratulations.
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 Gyles Camilla, thank you as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.